Hi, I'm Monica and today we're testing how different papers handle watercolor. I use the exact same paints and techniques across each time so we can see how the surface really affects glazing, wet on wet and drying results. This is part of my learning journey and with supplies that are actually available here in South Africa, and I'm sharing my results so you can see what's worth using. The paints that I've got is a 24 color half pan set from Mungyo. They're pretty decent and I really like the palette that it comes with. So you can see it's been thoroughly used, especially for this little experiment of mine. So let's get down to the experiment itself. I was looking specifically for hot pressed paper because I want to learn how to do glazing. So this is cotton paper and I think there's 10 sheets. It's just under 150 Rand for the 10 sheets. And it's going to be the first time I'm actually working with this. And then here is a mixed media pad, which kind of looked like it had the same texture. I don't have the price available, but I know that it was less than the hot pressed watercolor paper. So first up, we're going to look at the mixed media page. I swatched out all the transparent colors, one semi-transparent color, one of the blues. And yeah, as you can see, it dries a little bit quickly. It was difficult to get very smooth fills, even though I did do my best. Of course, there was a little bit of a splash. The glazing kind of made a little bit distortion and it did tend to lift the surface underneath. So even though the paper is nice and white, the texture is very similar to the hot pressed, I was not very happy about the results. Now if we look at the hot pressed cotton paper, you can see an immediate difference. I had no problems with colors lifting up underneath. The color went on smooth. There was a little bit of texture from the cotton, but I think that might have been from me erasing some pencil lines and disturbing the surface. But the glazing went on easy. It didn't dry too quickly. It allowed for the paint to smooth out quite nicely. And yeah, I am actually quite impressed with the difference of the results. So for glazing, at least, I would definitely recommend the hot pressed paper. I also did a general swatch of all the colors on a wet on wet technique to see how the pigment would behave, if we got any granulation or anything, and blending some colors. So this is the mixed media page, and even though it came out very, very nicely, when I did a little sample flower here, as you can see, got a little clearer view here, I really struggled with the glazing. As soon as you put another layer on top of your base layer, the paint just lifted, it made everything muddy, and it actually caused a lot of frustration and is the reason why I decided to do a proper glazing test to see whether or not I should use the other paper instead, even though the multimedia paper originally seemed to look very nice when I did the general swatch test. So this is the hot press paper wet on wet again. As you can see, the colors look slightly a bit duller. I did do a small glazing test over there. You've got a lot of movement and granulation with some of the mixing of colors, which is why glazing tends to be a little bit better. You can see the one over there basically separated. I also tested out my metallic paints, and I've actually come to the conclusion that you might as well just paint the pill over everything. It's going to give you the same effect. As you can see, I tested on pencils. I also did a little bit of testing with ink. And here is a comparison to cold press paper that I originally swatched, which has quite a different texture and effect. That's it for today, and it was interesting to see how much of a difference the paper makes. I'll be doing some more tests on locally available supplies, so if you'd like to see how they hold up, stick around for the next one.